Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into a brand new episode of the RSL Show. I am the host, Alex Napolis. Sitting alongside me today is a very special guest, Mitch Rodriguez, and of course, joining us as always, Josh Clark. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
Josh, how you doing, my man?
You know, I had to go to a cardiac specialist today, based on the last few RSL games. It's not been good for my health, but otherwise I'm great. That was a joke.
RSL giving us heart attacks with 3 back-to-back comeback, one to Colorado, one to Dallas, one to Seattle. We will break those down today, but before we start breaking into that, let's talk about the MLS All-Star voting that just went live yesterday. MLS All-Stars, you can now go into MLSsoccer.com, go vote for the All-Stars. Since 2021, Rouse Lake have not had an All-Star. Damir Kralik was the last one called up. This year, I think there's a couple of players on this roster that are guaranteed locks for that All-Star. But I want to hear your guys' takes and thoughts on who from Real Lake deserves to be on that All-Star roster.
There's only one guaranteed lock for me because I know how this league works.
Yeah.
Chicho Arango is clearly going to be on the All-Star team. If he's not, it'll be one of the crimes of the century, right? We can all agree on that. Chicho Arango, 99.9% will be on the MLS All-Star roster. Now, for the fringe guys, I don't see the fans, right, like the entire league's fans voting some of these guys in, but I could see them being coaches' selections. These guys include for me Ojeda, Anelli, a Gomez, a Catranis, a Vera, a Glad, and you can make a case for Diego Luna. So I would love to see at least 2 to 3 guys on this All-Star roster, but I have a feeling we'll see one. Just because it's the MLS and no one likes Real Salt Lake.
Mitch.
I tried to vote yesterday. I showed you guys a screenshot, but the only thing that's weird, I wanted to put Anelli in, but I can only pick Ojeda. You can't have 2 CDMs.
Yeah, that's also a crime.
Yeah, I kind of wish in a way I could also select Anelli because I think he deserves to be on the All-Star team. He's been killing it.
And this is where I disagree with you, Josh, because I'm going to say that I think at this point, Andres Gomez is a lock for the All-Star game. And that would be a crime to not have Gomez on an All-Star roster.
Absolutely, but whose spot? Who is he jumping over?
I would make an argument that he is having just as good a season as Denny Bouanga is for LAFC.
Yeah, but do you really see fans voting for Andres Gomez over Denny Bouanga? I'm purely speaking fan vote here.
Right.
No one pays attention to ourselves. Even we're in first place, right? The common MLS fan, the MLS 360 observer, still doesn't give 2 shits about RSL and Andres Gomez. Chicho Arango did it at LAFC. He's a known commodity. He's a name. That gives him the leg up. And clearly he's, front runner for MVP with Messi right now. Gomez will make it as a coach's choice or commissioner's choice, whatever. But fan voting, I don't see it happening.
Well, everybody needs to go out and vote. Let's get him on the roster.
I mean, yeah, but even if every RSL fan, did as many votes as they could, you still got to get, the other team's fans to vote for him. And that's a big ask.
Well, you guys heard it here from Josh. Go out, go vote, MLSsoccer.com. The ballots are up. Make sure to get our guys on that MLS All-Star roster. And look, I know the All-Star is is it still important? I don't think it's that important.
Okay. No, because it's an All-Star game, right? It's kind of just like a pageant. Yeah. But
yeah,
it feels really good to have your guys on that team.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's how I feel this year.
Right. And I want to see our guys with the best guys in the league. I want to get Andres Gomez All-Star jersey. I want to get a Chicho Arango All-Star jersey, right? Like it's still badass. It's still cool. And yeah, I never really want any of our guys to get snubbed just to not have to go play that game.
And it will give me a purpose to actually watch it for once. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever sat down and watched an All-Star game. I kind of think it's lame, but European. What can I do?
Yeah, you Euro snobs.
But hey, speaking about snubs, Diego Luna left off the Olympic roster, camp roster, I should say, for the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah, I mean, a crime again, a crime. He could still make the Olympic roster, but when you're not getting invited to the camp before, that's usually not a good sign.
Yeah.
I think the coaches, I'm not even going to say his name because I don't like him right now. I think his excuse was an easy one for him and pretty lame. So yeah, I mean, to me, it feels like there's something personal there. Whether he doesn't like the look of Diego Luna, whether he doesn't like the attitude of Diego Luna. So some of the guys that were selected for that roster, you can't make an argument for them to be there over Diego Luna. Um, but I think Diego Luna has the right attitude about it. I think he has the right mentality. I think he's going to go out there and prove, to the U.S. national youth team that, hey, you guys made a mistake. I should be there. I deserve to be there. I'm going to be a feature for the men's national team going forward. He's a very unique player. He's something that the national team doesn't have. And maybe that's what scares them. They don't know how to play him because they've never had a guy like him, but it's criminal. It's insane to leave Diego Luna off that roster.
Yeah, especially if you see the season he's been having. Like, he is our driving force going forward. Why would you leave that of the national team? I don't get it.
And even if he had the goals and assists to go along with his play, right now his play is he's creating everything. He's the force in the middle or on the wing. He pops up in the middle all the time, but he's kind of the heartbeat of getting that attack going. I mean, if you can't see that, like, what? I don't know.
It is weird to me though, because I forgot who told me, but I was told that they were building the Olympic team around Luna. Like, he was gonna be the focal point, and they were gonna build around him. So for him to be out right now is really surprising to me. Like, what has
Yeah, and
changed?
if he's not at camp, they're clearly not building around him, right? Because you can't just suddenly build around a guy that isn't at camp.
Well, and like you mentioned, this isn't just some camp. This is the camp. This is the
Mm-hmm.
camp that's the primer. This is the camp that's getting you ready to go to the Olympics in July. So for him to not be on this roster, it's incredibly concerning. It's a big red flag that says that, hey, Diego Luna might not be going to this Olympics where we thought he was going. He was a for sure lock.
And I'll agree on the red flag, but I don't think it's a red flag caused by Diego Luna. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. No, 100%. So we hope Lugana is able to make it onto that roster. If not, hey, we're happy to have him here. We're gonna need him this summer, specifically in Leagues Cup. So I hope that Luna just takes this opportunity, just continues to be Luna and continues to show and that he deserves it on the field. And yeah, I'm gutted for him.
If he continues on his trajectory, he will be a key player for the men's national team as soon as possibly the next World Cup. So we'll leave it at that.
All right, let's deep dive into RSL and the two results. One being the draw against FC Dallas, where I'm trying to like rack back my brain and remember what was going on in this match. And from what I can remember, that first half was mostly controlled by Real Salt Lake.
Listen, RSL should have had 3 points in that game.
Yeah.
Right? We were the better team, out and out. What hurt us in that game was RSL.
Yeah.
Two incredible. I mean, I told you guys I wasn't going to go in too hard on Zach McMath because he does make big saves and he does come up huge. But boy, oh boy, those were some amateur league mistakes he made. And for a team firing on all the cylinders that this team is firing on, that's a concern. That's a big concern.
It's been a couple of weeks now and a couple of games going back to specifically the Galaxy one where we had this discourse about McMath making mistakes, the Colorado match where we have discourses about McMath making mistakes, and then he goes to Dallas and he does what he did, where I want to say it was 47th minute, Ilaramendi takes a shot, routine save for any keeper.
a catch, not even a save, just a snag out of the air.
And the ball just escapes him, ends up in the back of the net, and all of a sudden we're heading to the break down 1-0 in Dallas.
Alex, let me tell you something. That ball did not escape Zach McMath. Zach McMath just missed it.
Yeah.
He alligator handed that thing, and it went right through those paws. That's embarrassing, man. It's so embarrassing.
Especially
And
as a
undeserved.
veteran.
Undeserved.
Especially as a veteran goalie. Like, you should have that. That's a routine catch, in my opinion. I'm not a goalie. Never will be. But that's a routine catch.
Just poor mistake from McMath heading into the break. We come back in the second half. FC Dallas is all of a sudden has momentum, has confidence, being up 1-0, and he does it again. Whereas Zach McMath is just caught off his line, way up the pitch, loses possession,
swinging
and basically gives Dallas an open net to make it 2-0.
Right. And at this point, pounding my head against the table, I can't believe what I'm seeing. You know, this team is on fire. Why are we being, just ruined by goalkeeping gaffes, right? It sucked. It really did suck.
It was tough to watch. I will say that. Especially considering how much praise we were giving McMath, a month and a half ago, where he was coming up with some big saves. He was leading the league in shots per saving shots per goal, the ratio, whatever. And now we're in a situation where we should have had 3 points against the Galaxy, and we most likely probably should have had 3 points against FC Dallas.
Yep. It's a shame. And, we're lucky that we got a point.
Paul Arriola makes it 3, just literally within minutes, because I think at this point, Real Salt Lake is as taken back as we are. They are shocked, and you can see it.
I mean, but you're absolutely rattled at this point, right?
Yep, exactly.
You're going, how are we down 2-0? We're playing solid. We're suddenly down 2-0 because no fault of our own, right? Like, that's going to rattle you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to cause you to just not play at your best for a minute because you're just trying to figure out what the hell's going on. So it's 3-0 and you're just, kind of throwing your hands up like, what's going on today? This isn't RSL. What's happening? And then RSL happened.
Diego Luna happened, to be specific, as Diego Luna, within seconds of Arriola making it 3, Luna goes down the pitch and makes it 3-1, and I think that changes everything.
Oh, you fired him up immediately.
Exactly. You can see the difference of the Real Salt Lake that was playing the first 15 minutes of that second half versus the RSL that played after that Luna goal. It's the Real Salt Lake that we've seen over the course of the last 3 months.
Yep, and it's a beautiful thing.
It really is a beautiful thing. This is probably my favorite RSL squad that I've seen on the field in a long time.
If not ever.
It is.
I'm even comparing them to the 2009 roster, the 2013 roster. This team is just so much more dynamic and so much fun to watch that if they can get some silverware this year, it's absolutely going to go down as our best roster that we've had together.
No, like it just feels like we finally leveled up. We've been stagnant for the last 10 years, maybe. Like
more than that.
It's been stagnant for so long. We've been getting players. They're not really getting developed well. And, now that we're seeing that these players are just, they don't let their heads hang down when we're behind, which is awesome. The play on the field is so much better. We're so much more diverse. We're not just doing long balls over the side anymore. Right now, it's hard to tell how RSL is going to attack. Because we attack in so many different ways. And it's so nice to watch that. Because after a while of doing the same stuff over and over again, you just kind of get bored.
Yeah,
and
big switch cross.
Exactly.
Big switch cross.
And now we're doing triangles. We're really passing up the field.
Combining up the middle, counterattacking, forcing turnovers that turn into opportunities.
Exactly.
Set pieces.
And we're looking like a team. We actually look like a team. And it feels good to watch. Like, We get down to nothing. Of course, I'm bummed out. I'm ready to turn my TV off, but I don't because I know we got Luna, we got Crooks, we got all these guys on the team that are ready to work and get that ball up the field in a different way than we normally do. So it's really it's a fun team to watch.
And I love that you mentioned the team. I love that you mentioned just that team because immediately after Luna scores the 3-1, we get 4 subs from Real Salt Lake.
Which, real quick, last year would not have happened.
Nope.
Yeah, I agree. Immediately after Real Salt Lake scores, Anderson Julio comes onto the pitch. Chang, Barajas, Oviedo come in. And I think we've criticized Pablo on substitutions, but in the Dallas game, he absolutely nailed them because they provided a different spark in the attack, and it was that spark that was needed to be able to make the comeback.
Well, and let's give a ton of credit to the staff because I don't think in the past the staff was able to either convey their thoughts to Pablo or push Pablo to make these kind of changes. That's entirely different this year, right? We're seeing so many different looks, so many different combinations, and just credit to the coaching staff. That's weird for me to say. I never say that, and I feel dirty. But credit's due, and I'm giving it to them. So, props, boys.
It shows like the product off the field with them training and these new coaches. It really shows how important it is to have good assistant coaches. I don't think like the guys we had before, it felt like they had no input on the game for the most part. The Colorado game, Fidel was about to come in. He's standing on the sideline. We score a goal. The coaches get off the bench. They get into a big debate on what to do next. And Fidel does not come on the field because the momentum is going. They got another strategy going on. And it worked in our favor. And it's nice to see that Pablo's getting challenged.
And honestly, man, to me, that's a sign of a great coaching staff. To be able to, on the fly, make a decision to bring Fidel on. The situation in the game has now completely changed with the goal. So you scratch that and you make up another plan on the fly with your assistants. That to me is beautiful. And that's what should be done. And I don't think, as you've mentioned, I don't think I've seen that from the RSL coaching staff in the past.
I've never seen it. I've never seen it.
I should say under Pablo, under Pablo's coaching staffs.
Yeah, you never saw it under Freddie. You never saw it under Pecky. You never saw it under Kassar.
I don't remember anything.
Christ, it's been a long time. So
this is way before Alex's time.
He wasn't even alive at that point.
I was not. So it's 3-1. We just had mass substitutions. Palacio comes on 10 minutes after those 4 substitutions. So now you've used up your whole bench. It's do or die for Real Salt Lake. What are you going to do? In step Anderson Julio, who, by the way, goal of the week. Congratulations to him. Scores a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful goal into the top corner near post and makes it 3-2.
And you know what? This goal is absolutely beautiful, but how about the confidence of Anderson Julio to take that shot, right? Before with Julio, we've all given him grief from time to time because he's been so one-dimensional. But I think this season he's really developing into not being such a one-dimensional guy. We've asked him to hold up at times, but now he's taking risky shots. He's scored some huge goals for us this year. He gives you an entirely different look than what a Chicho does, but man, Julio has been absolutely effective this year, especially off the bench, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I liked him. When was it? Like 2 years ago, before he left and came back. He was like the super sub
when he was first here on loan initially.
Yeah. He came on and always did something amazing, and it wasn't as consistent as it is now. But now it's just, and I'm going back to the whole team thing. I really think every single player on this roster enjoys playing for RSL right now. I really don't see any weirdness on the pitch. I see people throw up hands out of frustration sometimes, but that's normal. We all get frustrated when you don't get it your way a little bit. But yeah, I really feel like this team is different, man. We really leveled up. It is so fun to watch every single individual player just step up. They all leveled up, And I never say that
Hypothetical for you.
because everybody knows I'm not an RSL fan. Well, if you didn't know, that was always the running thing. But like, it's really fun. I'm really enjoying watching RSL this season.
Hypothetical question for you: is this team what this team is now? If Sava's still on the team,
No,
I would say no.
I don't think so either.
I would say no because I think ultimately having Savarino be the undisputable starting winger maybe hindered Gomez's time and development a little bit. So I think opening up that spot on the wing for Gomez has paid a huge amount of success for Real Salt Lake.
Yeah, the dividends are huge, and not only that, but like I really do think Savarino's attitude was piss poor.
That too.
And it's something that this team just didn't need to deal with, right? So not having that locker room rift, that player that doesn't want to show up for his boys, that's big, man. That's big.
no, like you could see the difference between having Salva on your team and not having Salva on your team, and the way he acted on the team too. Like you can tell that he was kind of a loner, maybe kind of like causing stuff. I'm okay with him being gone. I think we never should have brought him back, to be honest.
98-minute off a corner at the top of the 18 is a man named Nelson Palacio, a guy that we have given grief for not having the best performances so far yet this season. But he steps up when Real Salt Lake needs him most, puts it into the back of the net, and it's 3-3 in Dallas.
How are you feeling after that goal goes in?
Elated. No, you know what? There is no word to describe what I felt in that moment because I was running around the KSL studios and I swear security was going to come kick me out. That it was insane to watch that happen.
Again, right? You're just like, there's no way this is going to happen. You know, we've clawed back in. At least it's a respectable loss now. Oh, but wait, there's more. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff from Nelson Palacio. Incredible stuff from RSL.
It's so awesome to watch that, how often is it that you see a team battling back from a 3-0 loss, like from a 3-0 deficit?
Twice.
When's the other time?
Well, Colorado, right? Just the game before we've clawed back in.
But that wasn't 3-0.
From a 2-0. From a 2-0.
That wasn't 3-0. This is 3-0. For most teams, and for you can put Real Madrid down 3-0, and most teams are going to think that they're beat. But this team did not think that they were beat. They came back, they pulled it off, and they did something that not many teams in the world can have done or do, and that's come back from 3-0.
Yeah, we saw it earlier in the season when we got behind a few times. They just gave up, right? And I really wonder what has changed in the locker room that keeps these guys to keep their heads up and just keep pushing forward. Because there's been times where we were behind 1-0 and we would just sit back and do nothing and get scored on. So it is really nice to see that stuff doesn't bother us when we go down.
We're also not making, kind of back to the substitutions. You know, in the past, maybe we go down a goal away from home and we kind of just write it off, right? Bring in some weird subs, get guys minutes. Whereas now I feel like RSL is going to play RSL ball until that whistle blows, and there's nothing you can do about it.
And I love it.
I think
it's the approach from the coaching staff. It's the mentality of the players. It's the leadership from a Glad, a Chicho.
Yes.
Probably from all of them. I don't think there's a guy on there that doesn't, try to push the team. So it's just a good chemistry. It's to win a championship, you need a lot of things to go your way, and you need to build things just right. And I feel like we're on that path right now.
Absolutely.
What could derail this? What do you think is a way of
whoa.
Like, just I just want to know. I just want to see
I'm not
if there's
jinxing it.
I don't want to jinx it either, but I've seen RSL for a few years now. Every time we have a little go, we drop somehow. And there's always one or two things that happen.
Don't say it. I know
I'm
what you.
not.
I
I'm
know
not
what you're
jumping in.
thinking.
I'm
All
not
right.
jumping in.
All
No,
I'm
right.
no,
not.
no.
I'm not
All right,
I
we'll
know
cut
what
that.
you're thinking, and I'm not saying it.
We'll cut that bit out. We'll be right back.
I'll talk to you offline. I'll talk to you offline.
We'll be right back.
I know exactly what you're gonna say, and I'm not. I'm not saying it. I'm not jinxing it.
Yep, we won't do it. I refuse. I won't be the reason it happens. Damn it.
3-3 in Dallas. Rouse Lake comeback. Yeah, like I said, it's on one hand it's a sucky result because I think Rouse Lake absolutely should have won. You put away your chances in the first half. You don't have to climb back from a 3-0 deficit. Truly. But it does show there's a lot of positives to take out of it, in which what we were just talking about, that this team just will not quit, will not give up.
Well, it shows great character, and it also shows to a guy like McMath or to your defensive unit or your midfield unit or your forwards that, hey, so things can go bad in this game, right? A gaff or a red card or something, but that doesn't mean we're dead, right? And they've proven they've proven that to themselves now 3 games in a row, that things can go wrong and you guys are still alive. That's a huge confidence booster for even the guys making the mistakes, right? So it's incredible. I haven't seen this before from RSL, and I don't know what to think right now. It's just cool.
It's almost like we're in a dream.
Yes,
I feel like we've been wanting a team like this for so long. We've been talking about it for years. And it finally is here.
And now we're like, oh, how do we absorb this? What do we do?
Yeah. Like you're not as salty as you used to be, Josh, because the team is doing good.
Crazy how that happens, huh?
Yeah.
There
It's
was
so weird.
people on Twitter making comments that they're not used to seeing this much optimism from the RSL show. I don't know if you guys caught those.
No.
But someone tweeted at the RSL show, and they were like, "This is a weird amount of optimism from you guys."
And it's scary.
Yeah,
It is, especially coming from Josh.
I'm not being forced. No one has a gun to my head. You know, sometimes before it was a little bit forced, but right now I'm feeling a little salty towards McMath, but I don't want to single him out, so I won't.
Well, you can add another
mistakes
name to that
happen. We
list.
just had 3 in 2 games, but it's no big deal. We'll get past it.
Moving past to last night's match, Real Lake heading to Seattle. Seattle looking for revenge after falling 2-0 here at America First Field just a couple weeks ago. Now we head to Seattle, to their home turf, which I just want to throw out there that Real Lake this series actually has not been able to find a draw since 2012. There's always been a winner and there's always been a loser, and it's usually the home team.
That's fine. Their stadium sucks. Their field sucks. Their jerseys suck. No one wants to be there, so I get it.
Earlier yesterday, before the match, Inter Miami fell and Cincinnati fell. So there was a part of me that thought Real Lake loses this one.
Well, I mean, you look at the lineup, it's heavily rotated. You're away from home I know we do well away from home, but Seattle is a tougher place to play. They're getting healthy. They've picked up a couple results.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like the betting man would put money on Seattle, right? Even in my head, I was like, if Seattle wins tonight, it's not the end of the world. It sucks, but it's not the end of the world. We'll move past it. It's fine. That was my mentality going into it.
Yeah, I was right there with you. I came into this one fully expecting a loss, and I was going to be okay with it. I was going to take it to the chin and say, hey, winning unbeaten streak can't last forever, and take it into Austin, right?
Yep.
Rotated lineup, as Josh mentioned, including a start from Gavin Beavers, Quentin back into the 11, a couple 6 changes in total. Palacio getting a start, Chang getting a start, no Chicho as he's rested, Oviedo back into the starting 11, first time in a while for Oviedo. So very rotated starting lineup for Real Lake, but I will say first 15 minutes, first 20 minutes of this one, RSL had Seattle scrambling for answers. The high press.
We look good.
The giveaways, turning the ball over high up in the attacking third. RSL was killing Seattle on giveaways.
Yeah, and it was just honestly unfortunate that we didn't, capitalize on one of those chances because the chances were there.
Yeah. Seattle grew into it. Seattle got comfortable. They grew into it. And then Seattle said, hey, you're going to press us. We're going to press you. And Seattle started giving us a little taste of our own medicine and had a lot of more opportunities to close that first half. In the second half, they did the exact same thing, and it looked like Seattle were getting the better of the chances and better opportunities. And honestly, for the most part in that second half, Rouse Lake wasn't really getting forward in the attack too much. It was a game that at first was being dictated by Rouse Lake, now dictated by Seattle.
Yeah, and I think part of us not being able to adjust to the press like we normally see us do when teams try to press us is you don't have a Brian Ojeda in there to further disrupt. Right, Palacio isn't as comfortable on the ball pushing forward. Quinton, he's clearly not a right wing back, right? So you don't have that interchange on the right wing with Gomez. So it makes sense, right? We don't have the normal force to break the lines when we're under pressure. So it's kind of to be expected in ways. And you don't have Chicho holding up the ball at the top, right? You have Julio trying to hold up the ball. That's not his thing. No shade to him. And then also some poor giveaways from RSL in the midfield that really killed momentum at times. But again, we're not dead.
Which is also good to see that even with our subs and not our normal starters, that we still are able to fight back and not give up. So it just shows again the whole team is one unit.
I love that you mentioned that because that totally went over my head. But to have your bench, your rotated players come in and have a good match against Seattle, I think that's great. You give guys like Palacio, like Chang, like Oviedo, who have kind of fallen out of the starting 11, haven't really had too many minutes, whether it's injury, whether it's just riding out on the bench. They came in and they did a job, and they did a good job at that. They held Seattle scoreless for a majority of the match, and then Rouse Lake decides to bring in the big dogs, and a foul is called where Albert Rusnak gets the ball outside the 18.
Let me tell you guys something. I had kind of forgiven Albert Rusnak for all of his indiscretions against RSL. I no longer forgive him. He is back on the list. I get that he wanted to celebrate. He hasn't really celebrated against RSL. But man, that celebration felt pointed, man, did it not? He was so elated to score against us. Goodness.
It's a good goal. I'll give him the goal. It's a good goal. It's a nice goal.
It's a good goal, but the wall should have done better. Yes. I think the wall's positioning was kind of off. Beavers was a little slow. So no, I'm not. It was a good goal, but I'm not giving all the credit to Rusnak because I don't like you.
Yeah, you don't expect a free kick to go like that though, especially from that distance. You don't think it's gonna be slotted in, laced in, like where was it? Far? Was it far or short?
It was
corner?
far post.
Far post.
It was Rusnak's near post, so it was Beaver's far post. But that's where that wall needs to be covering that post, so he has to bend that ball around. Mm-hmm. Whereas he just hit that thing straight on.
Yeah.
So that's where the wall issue. Yeah, so the wall should have been covering that post.
And look, I don't want to hate on or blame it on Gavin too much, or really, no. But especially after the game he had up to this point.
Yeah,
and that's something I forgot to mention.
Huge saves.
The only reason that game was 0-0 at that point was because of Gavin Beavers.
Yep.
Seattle had so many opportunities and so many chances to go forward and get ahead in the second half. But Gavin Beavers, man, incredible. Love him.
Absolute stud.
Yeah, I hope we can keep him for a long, long time. Or at least 2 or 3 seasons.
Are we ready to have the conversation of who Rouse Lake's number 1 is?
No. I mean, yes, we'll talk about it. I still think Zach McMath is the number 1, just based on the veteran presence, right? Blah, 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 blah. But Gavin Beavers is whispering sweet nothings in his ear, and his job is up for grabs pretty soon. Especially if he keeps putting in performances like he has.
Yeah, he had some great saves.
I'm talking about Beavers, not McMath.
Mm-hmm. He had some great saves. It was fun watching him. And he's
and
always
at some point,
fun.
Right, and at some point you have this young goalkeeper that if you want to move him on or make him your number one, this is a lot like the conversation we had about Ochoa. You have to give him that number one job eventually, right? And I think that time is coming.
I don't remember. I'll have to go back and check. But during one of our preseason episodes, I remember saying that by the end of the year, Gavin Beavers was going to be our starting goalkeeper, and it certainly seems that we're trending toward that direction.
Yeah, the trajectory is there.
Which honestly, like, hey, I am all for it. I'm all for giving Gavin the starting job, even if Rouse Lake, end up going far in playoffs. If this team ends up continuing to ride that number one spot, top of the West, I still think Gavin is a solid keeper to have, and to have heading into a playoff run. We've seen it work in the past with guys like Celentano at Cincinnati, who was a young keeper who kind of took a starting job from a veteran and has absolutely ran with his opportunity. And I'm hoping we see the same with Gavin Beavers.
And I think we will, because that's really the natural life cycle of a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
You come up, you wait, you get your opportunity when a veteran slips, and then it's yours, right? That's where we're headed.
Seems that way. I like Gavin. I really hope he can lock down a starting position sooner rather than later. And that's no dish to McMath. I want to give credit to McMath for everything he's done and all the saves that he's, the big saves that he had in previous games. But I think it's time to allow Gavin to continue to grow. That's the way I see it.
And I feel like McMath is okay with that too. Like me and Josh stayed after the Colorado game and watched the Unified game. And they were on the sideline together, just chopping it up. Like, you don't see any animosity. And I think Zach is kind of like his not like coach, but like I think Zach
his
is
mentor.
His mentor for sure.
Yep.
And we never really saw that at RSL as well, where a veteran goalie is mentoring the younger ones. So I keep saying it, it's so refreshing to see this team, man. It's so refreshing. Like, everything just seems to be working so well. And yeah, I hope to see Gavin in goal soon, like just starting constantly. Because
be the solid number one.
Yeah, he has the confidence. He looks comfortable in goal. Which with Ochoa, you saw it too, but not as confident. I feel like Ochoa just had a lot of distractions off the field, maybe, or even on the field. And Beavers is just he's here to do a job, and he's gonna do it well.
And he's got the size. He's got the speed, the technical ability. He's got everything you want out of a goalkeeper. So teams will come a knocking for Gavin Beavers at some point.
I agree. Looking back at the Seattle match, Albert Rusnak scores in the 68th minute. Rouse Lake got punched, and I don't think they really responded until the 83rd when Alex Catranis was introduced onto the pitch. Because from there, the amount of attack that was coming from that left side from Catranis, you could tell the difference, that there was now a spark in the attack for Rouse Lake, something we hadn't seen all match.
Well, and for the first, 3/4 of the game, you're not going to get Quinton pushing up the field and bombing down the field, right? So you don't have that interchange play. And as much as I like Oviedo, he's clearly lost a step, right? He does a job, but you're still not getting that pure attack out of that left back that you get with the Catranis. So yeah, when Catranis isn't playing, it's very noticeable.
Yes.
Yeah, the Catranis definitely one of my favorite players on the squad right now.
I'm buying a Catranis jersey ASAP.
The way he just came to RSL and it just worked. Also, something we haven't seen happen in a long time, where a new player comes in and it just works. The way he plays, it's so refreshing. His passing is so good. Like, him overlapping. Yeah, exactly. How many did Beltran had?
1.
Yeah.
In almost 10 years.
Yeah. So it's like I said, we're leveling up, man. We're going Super Saiyan.
Now imagine if we level up a Krishanis level at right back.
Deadly.
Ooh,
Bro.
Deadly.
I would. I cannot wait for that day. I cannot wait to see that happen.
Hey, Schmidt, you hear me?
So I'll give credit to Seattle because they did a good job of shutting down Arango as soon as he came in. Arango struggled to impose his style, I think, up until Katranis came in, and then we saw that shot from Arango that came outside the box that almost caught Stefan Fry. And then all of a sudden, Rouse Lake's just bombarding attack after attack after attack, and you get this feeling, this minute feeling deep down inside
Are we gonna do this again, boys?
that they're gonna do it again. But
And then what
then,
happened?
but then, Danny Musovsky
Ugh, I was so mad. Can I
said
tell you how mad
no.
I was, bro?
How mad were you?
2 ex-RSL guys scoring on you on your best season in God knows how long. And then, like, to just have that, oh, dude, I do not miss Musovsky. I don't miss his face. It's extremely punchable. His attitude, like, just everything about him. I still just, he reeks of it, even in Seattle. Not to mention he's wearing that stupid Bruce Lee jersey. I can't stand it. That's an unpopular opinion. I hate it. He's terrible. So to see him just score this stupid little tap in, oh man, I was livid. I was so livid.
He didn't wait a second to not cheer. He just went full on and just
I think
cheered.
I think the animosity is
Real.
a two-way street there. We have an issue with him, and I think he has an issue with us.
And that's fine. So it was right that his goal gets called back, and to see his disappointment, it just makes my heart full. We could have lost, but to see him get his goal taken like back would have made it all better for me.
How quick question. How do you guys feel about the refs telling us what their decision is?
I absolutely love it.
Yeah,
Absolutely love it.
it brings a level of transparency to the game that you just don't see in soccer. I mean, obviously you see it in the NBA and the NFL because they'll anytime they go to replay, they'll talk about their decision. But in the game of soccer, you don't have that transparency in any league in the world, but now you do here in Major League Soccer, and I think that's one of those things that other leagues will see and will quickly begin to adapt for sure.
I hope so, because it is refreshing to like hear him say why they change. Like we can see it, like we got TVs, but when you're in the stands and they don't show it on the big screen, it's nice to hear them explain why or the decision that they made.
Right. Instead of just doing the little square and the point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. To kind of break down the play and what happened, Arsenal throws it in. Glad goes up for a ball, tries to pick it out of the air. Musasi basically takes out his legs from under him, cuts him in half. The ball ends up rolling back to whoever their attacker is at this point. Can't remember who it is off the top of my head. But at this point, the whole Real Salt Lake team stopped because it's clearly a foul, but the referee didn't see it. And everybody rolls back. It's a 3v1. Beavers is all by himself. Musovsky puts it into the back of the net off just a squared pass in front of goal. Puts it into the back of the net. It's 2-0. Quickly VAR jumps in, and the goal is called back. It's a foul and a free kick for Real Salt Lake.
And then that little tingle of hope returns.
It did. It did. And look, I think it's funny but it's amazing to see this one in particular because literally 30 seconds before Gomez scores the equalizer, we're talking about RSL taking a 2-0 loss in Seattle,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's
And
plenty of
what do you
fans. There's
Plenty
plenty of
turn their
fans.
TV off.
Yeah, there's plenty of
Bros.
fans, plenty of people who at that point, the second goal goes in, TVs go off, people are getting ready for bed. It's 10:30 here. People have work. People are going to bed.
So I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I fell asleep between like the the 82nd. Well, I fell asleep between Musowski scoring and right before Gomez scored. I was snoring on the couch. I had fallen asleep. I woke up for the goal, but I had dozed off. So yeah, it was late. People were tired.
The ball gets reset. Arsenal takes the free kick, goes out to the left. Ball gets floated in, comes back to the right. Gomez into the box, takes a shot. It's deflected, and then he megs Stefan Fry, puts it into the back of the net, and they did it again.
They did it again, boys.
Real Salt with a late equalizer, steals a point in Seattle, and now come back home against Austin on Saturday.
Gotta love it. And I'm, not to discredit Austin, but this is a game we should handle on Saturday, right? Should. I'm always going to say should. Keyword. I'm scared to jinx things. But we've set ourselves up nicely, got through this big stretch of schedule congestion, and now we can just get back to our ways, right? We can have a little bit of rest. The squad was rotated. We can get after it against Austin. And to me, I feel really positive going forward, and that is just so. I feel like I'm going to throw up. It doesn't feel right, but I love it.
A stat floating around out there from after last night's match: best Real Salt Lake start in club history.
I believe it.
30 points through 16 games is the best start Real Salt Lake has ever had. This 12-game unbeaten streak is now one of the longest unbeaten streaks that Real Salt Lake have ever had in club history. And it's interesting because we are halfway through the season. Austin is game number 17.
That's crazy.
At the beginning of the year, if I would have told you that Real Salt Lake was going to be the number one team in the Western Conference, just 3 points off of the Supporter Shield, just 1 point off of Cincinnati in second place, would you have believed it?
I would have made fun of you and told you that you're being way too optimistic and you're kind of dumb. I'm just being honest.
No, for sure.
There's no way I would have believed it.
No, and you can go back and listen to our old shows, our preseason shows, and none of us said that this was possible.
In fact, Andy had us do a stupid mantra.
And it worked. It worked.
Knock on wood. Season's not over, Alex. If we lose on Saturday, this is your fault now.
I'm knocking on wood. Look, I'll say this about Austin. This is an Austin team who started off the season pretty poorly. It's an Austin team who, as of late, have gone on a really nice run. However, it's a very inconsistent run. Mm-hmm. We'll see Austin be very good for 2 or 3 games, and then they'll go back to early season Austin. That doesn't look good.
And let's be real. Last season, the season before, even early this season, no one's coming to Rio Tinto or the Riot. Sorry, I'm not saying the other name because it's the Riot forever. No, the people haven't been coming to the Riot worried or on their toes, right? They are now. So They're going to be nervous coming in. And I think after 3, games that are trying to give us heart attacks, I think it's due time for RSL to really put the hammer down on someone and really make a statement. We've made a lot of statements, but I think it's time to just bury someone. And I think Austin's a prime candidate to get buried. Not a comeback, but a 5-1, 6-1.
I think no matter what the result is, it could be 6-1, could be 5-1, could be 1-0. RSL needs 3 points.
Yep, 100%.
Because like I said, the good news is the 2 teams at the top fell. We're inching closer to that top. However, we've now dropped 4 of 6 points in the last 2 games, and that has been enough for Galaxy to be right behind us, sitting 2 points behind us in the Western Conference table, and LAFC also coming out of nowhere, now 2 points behind us in the Western Conference table.
And they're full of star power, right? Like, they will finish out the season strong.
Yes.
So we're going to have to be looking over our shoulder the rest of the season unless we can start absolutely dominating teams, getting those full 3 points when we need them.
And I think, like I said, Saturday, you need those 3 points. No more comeback draws. No more, leaving it up to fate like they have the last 3 games. But it needs to be a good 3 points. Agreed. Solid 3 points for Real Salt Lake.
Agreed.
If we can get a Real Salt Lake that we saw against Philadelphia, against Chicago, that run that we had, a month and a half ago, however long it was, we should be fine against Austin.
Should be
Because
keyword.
that Real Salt Lake team was solid, was dominant.
Mm-hmm.
Cleaning up the defensive mistakes, cleaning up the conceding first.
Yep.
And going down a goal first. I think that will get you 3 points against Austin.
Absolutely. So I'm here for it. Let's see it happen, boys. Let's continue these good vibes because it's not often we get them. So let's keep it rolling, baby.
The good news for Real Salt Lake is like I said, Inter Miami fell, Cincinnati fell. And after this, Real Salt Lake gets a little bit of a break. They will not play again for a week, so they get a week off after the Austin game before we travel up to Montreal. So, hey, get some 3 points and then take a well-earned little bit of a break before we head to the fun part of the season, right?
Yes, the messy part.
Awesome. Saturday, 7:30, Real Salt Lake taking on Austin. Do you guys have any last things you guys want to say before we wrap this one up?
Just keep the good vibes rolling. I don't want to be salty for a while, so let's avoid that because I feel like the gray hair is becoming less and less. As RSL makes me happy. So sports are life. Football is life. And life's always better when your boys are on fire. So let's keep it going.
Saturday, Real Salt Lake will be taking on Austin FC again, 7:30. Go get your tickets. Be there at America First Field. Go cheer on this team. Go sell out that stadium. It is near sellout. So make sure to be there to cheer on Real Salt Lake. We need this home win. We need 3 points. We'll be back next week here on the RSL show to break down said Austin game. And then we're probably going to take a little bit of vacation ourselves while the Real Salt Lake side also sits out for a little bit. But make sure to stick with us here on the KSL Sports Network for the best RSL content from the RSL show.